Melcifer barely has any time to recover from his nautical slaughter before he gets word Hannibal has murdered another hunter in a drunken brawl. Melcifer dispenses justice and executes Hannibal, showing that only the Lord of Winter can harvest the living. He also makes an example out of some of the other hunters, just to remind them who is in charge. Next he decides to attempt to free Freddy, but while getting into the prison as a bat is easy, once he engages the guards, things get more complicated as reinforcements join the fray. He flees to a random peasant hut, hoping to drain some lives and raise some dead, but by pure misfortune, he chose a house that not only had a powerful and ferocious beastly guardian, but also a woman wielding a strange feather-stuffed artifact, and so once more he is forced to retreat, this time all the way back to Winter's Reach. He decides it is finally time to destroy the Corville family and bring them into the fold. Will this finally be the end of the Corvilles? How far will the undead plague spread? Will Freddy be rescued? Let's find out now on Dicing with Death.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Dicing with Death. Ryan, how are you doing today?
Hello, I am doing well. Just as the cam lag sets in.
It wouldn't be Dicing with Death without cam lag.
Yeah.
One of these days,
even better. I'm moving, and I am finally fulfilling a 10-year-old Ryan's dream of owning a DSL internet connection. Only unfortunately, in the intervening decades, I don't think DSL is very cool anymore. So we'll see. I'll be firing it up like today, but it may be like Neal in Vietnam all over again.
Oh, nice.
Only just down the street in Seattle in 2019.
Nice. Great.
We'll see.
Maybe we can get Amazon drones to like fly out to you with like gigabit sticks of data and just send them back and forth that way.
I don't know. It's not looking good. I've got my fingers crossed. Like I haven't tested it out yet, but the speeds they were even advertising are not so hot. The joys of old buildings.
Yeah. So. Well, until that time comes.
Yeah. Well, that time may never come. This could be the last Dicing with Death ever. I could be moving to rural Vietnam, and I mean,
does that mean no homeward bound on Sunday?
We're still here till the end of the month, so okay.
Cool.
So I will be busy with moving related stuff, but I think we're still trying to squeeze in at least some segments of Homeward Bound.
Yeah. I mean, it might not last long. We'll see.
Yeah, so we still do have at least this quality of stream for Sunday.
Lovely. Well, let's take a look at our map and figure out where you are. I think you're home, right?
I believe so. So unless we want to do like a recap of the overall map, I think we can jump into the new Winter's Reach map, right? Actually that's not new, just the Manor House map, right? We're at the Manor.
No, there's a new Winter's Reach map.
Yeah, there is.
Well.
Yeah. Get there, but I think we're home at the Manor now, right?
Okay.
We all heard the cheeky recap from Layla and Chris.
The highly accurate recap.
Yeah. I unfortunately forgot to pick up some of those magical artifacts from the scene of our epic encounter.
Mm-hmm. I
really ought to go back and raise that cat as a zombie. A ferocious beast.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't that their dog?
It was a guard dog, yeah.
The dog, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, look at the bone throne.
You got a bone throne, and I think on the Lilith's house there.
Fan art of Melcifer on his bone throne.
Oh yeah, was that Square who did that?
Lilith's moved in.
Yep, We got a new map with Lilith moved in, and there's a workshop table here, I think, with corpses on it and shit.
On it? Oh no, not in the house. Got rid of cleared out the spider webs and brought in the bones. Okay. All right,
Nice.
cool. What the heck is that? Like a
it's
bone of some large animal? A skull?
Yeah.
Crocodile head? Oh my goodness.
One of these things, or maybe it's many things stitched together. Okay. Well, here you are in your home. Let's get some music playing, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, we got that. We got that tabletop audio.
Good stuff. If anyone's wondering, this is the Mousifer theme that we use, and it's the Nostromo track from Tabletop Audio. Georg used Protean Fields as his theme, and Mousifer uses Nostromo. I guess that's all I have to say on that. I thought I was going to have more to say about it.
I always felt like Protean Fields was Baron Song's song.
Oh, I think it started. No, you're right. It did start as his song.
Campaign.
Yeah, it was.
Can we go? Yeah. Can we go down a floor in the map?
Oh yes.
So Mousifer can sit on his bone throne.
Absolutely.
I wasn't sure about it, but then the music.
Music kicked in.
The music kicked in, and there we go.
Perfect. Now I should probably stretch this map out to be the appropriate dimensions, because right now it's just a little too small.
I think that's about right.
No, because this bed's only 4 feet wide and 5.5 feet long.
Make it bigger.
Yeah, we're gonna have to improve the size of your real estate right now.
Or is it just the size of my ego? Does the size of my ego will my real estate into expansion?
Maybe. Maybe that's big enough.
These beds are more like 6 feet wide. I think that's about right for a double, at least in modern terms. I'm sure.
How long are they?
What's that?
How long are they, though? Yeah. 8 feet long? Oh, now they're too big. Oh, no. Okay, so
you just can't win. But look at these tiny chairs.
This might be the correct size now. Is this the correct size? Super fun opening to Dicing with Death, I know. Yeah, now they're like 4.5 feet wide and 6.5 feet long. That's perfect.
Okay.
Mousifer's throne is perfect for him as well. Fantastic. Okay. Now let's just put them all in the right places. Voila. All right. House done.
Are there bushes in my throne room?
There are not bushes in your throne room. They're back here. There we go. Okay, now I can turn off the grid as well. We don't like dim grids. Perfect, perfect. Okay. So, Mousifer, here you are in your throne room at 14 out of 27 HP, as we can see on your token.
It looks like it. Well, I think Mousifer just broods in his throne room. Unless any sacrifices are brought before him, he will just heal supernaturally. With the aid is definitely not a witch, Lilith.
Yeah. Lord Rosegrove, maybe an hour or two after you arrive, rounds up the same group of hunters that he always rounds up and brings them back to you.
Are you sure about that, Neal? Are you sure about that? Because last time We
One of them died.
changed our hunting situation a little bit, didn't we?
A couple of them died, right?
Yeah,
One of them
Hannibal slew one of his compatriots in a drunken dispute.
Yeah.
And then we wrought Winter's justice on Hannibal and a few accomplices.
Mm-hmm.
And I think now the hunters have been working with an undead, a co-op, right? A co-op living and undead hunting team.
Mm-hmm.
Right, they're some of the former hunters were raised back as ghouls, and one as a skeletal specialist, and maybe even with its specter bound to the bones guiding it.
It's beautiful.
So I don't think this is the same old group of hunters, is it?
No. I mean, it's like the 6 hunters that have been here before, but they're changed forever.
Five. There's only five.
Okay. I thought you had 8 and 2 died, and so you were at 6. But...
We had 9, and it looks like 3 died.
That still brings
4?
you to 6. Okay, 5.
So, but I
whatever.
think there's 4 ghouls, or 3 ghouls and a skeleton.
Oh, right. Yeah, there was some ghouling going on.
So there's still 8 hunters, but
Right.
they're various states of death.
Right, because that one escaped,
still
and then the
9,
others
yeah.
you turned into ghouls. I forgot about that.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's what it was. Okay,
That's what it was. Okay, so the 5 hunters get brought before you.
Are there undead counterparts with them, or were those left outside of the porch?
You can't drain life from the undead, so...
Oh, they're okay.
They're here for...
Perfect. So I think Mousefur just sits back on his throne of bones and lets his loyal servants offer their tribute.
Yes. Lord Rosegrove brings them in and has them, come down this hallway, and then brings them one at a time to you, and then once they're drained, he leads them out this room.
Feeds them like we might actually
get a
go the other
lollipop
way.
on their way out to
we go the
increase
other
their blood
way.
sugar. Whatever.
Lollipop on the way out. Yeah, something like that. I was thinking, gives them
some cookies.
Some cookies and mulled wine or something.
Yeah, and then
warms them back up, sends them on their way with a little band-aid over their owie.
This is probably the better route, because then they can go and rest in the parlor for a little while.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I think I would like you to make me a charisma check, a flat charisma check at this point in time.
Yes. Lucky number 13 plus 16 on the dice for a nice juicy 29.
Mm-hmm. So as you are draining,
they love me.
As you're draining their life,
am I not a benevolent overlord?
You realize that these men and women are looking older than they used to. It's only been a few months now that you've had your necromantic powers. But these people whose life you keep draining away from them, they look like they've aged maybe 7 or 8 years. All of their features are just a little bit heavier. There's a little bit more sag in their face. There's a little bit more wrinkle going on. They're clearly still alive and fine and well and healthy, but it's taking a toll on them physically to keep having their HP drained like this.
There's
visual
two.
toll.
I'm the one giving up these years.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to, let's see. I have 21 my character sheet, I guess, does not have the HP up to date. And I think we were recording it on the token. 14. Yeah, and I was bat forming and stuff, and I didn't quite gain it back. I'm surprised I even have 14, but I'll take it. How many years does Mousefur trade in exchange for this?
So I guess keep rolling their HP every time. Right? So, yeah. We should just set Hunter HP because you keep using them to drain rather than rolling it every time.
So set it to be 8 or 6 or 7 or something like that.
Yeah, there's a few of these people.
Fixed value for the
group. All right, so we're gonna have 4, 6, 5. 4, 6, 5, 5, and 7 for HP on these people. So that's 27 HP that you can get from them. Which we cut
That's way
half.
more than I only.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's their
So I
max
need
HP.
13. That's actually perfect.
Yeah. So do you want to mark on your sheet or something that your remaining 5 hunters have 27 HP between them? If you want to be really careful, you can mark it as 4, 6, 5, 5, 7 for their HPs.
4, 6, 5, 5, 7.
Yeah.
I could even, if I really wanted to, separate that out and keep track. Yeah. That's just fine to know. All right, 27 HP divided by 2 is 13. I only need 26, but whatever. And then that would be 5 years to do this. Right, it's 1 year per drain.
Yes.
All right. And we'll go back up to full over the course of, I guess that's just a day of holding court.
Mm-hmm.
You sit yeah. And the people look weary, and so does their lord, no?
Mm-hmm.
And they're aging. That seems like a bonus feature, not necessarily a bug. If you use it on your enemy, right?
Yeah.
So like draining life drains years. That's not written in the spell description, but is that something that I'm discovering, or was this more?
No, it's not actually draining
narrative
years from their life, right? It just it takes a toll when you keep having someone come and suck your life out. You know, it wears on your body. Similar to like how a fisherman or someone who is in the sun all day might look a few years older than someone who sits inside all day. You know, that sort of like the aging effects and the weathering that happens on your body through all the shit you've been through.
Mm-hmm. Except this is weathering of their soul.
Yeah. You know, just the harder time you have of things in life, the faster you age, broadly speaking.
Yeah. I mean, they're also... Yeah. Now forced to work with these abominations, or have they embraced it? Do they feel like badasses that survive and get to be the ghouls around in the woods?
They are considered. I mean, if you ask around or if you overhear conversations, you'll hear that the group of hunters are sort of considered the in the hierarchy of the town. It goes Malcifer, and then it used to go like the sheriff, but now it goes like Malcifer, the hunters, and Malcifer's household staff, like all together in one block as like the second rung of power. They have a lot of influence and a lot of respect and a lot of fear.
How have they adapted to the undead? Like, are there? You said they look weary, hardened. I expect them to be hardened, right?
They have adapted
broken.
well to the undead.
Because they should be pushing the undead around, right? They're all marked, right? So they should be able to like kick the ghouls around and get them to do what they want, as long as the specialist sees it in the tactical interest, right? So
did you
the
get
ghouls
them
probably run more like dogs with this pack of hunters.
Do they all have the Mark of Allegiance?
No, they have just marks of servitude. So they have to mediate through the skeletal specialist that is bound to the soul of bound to the specter, the shade. Terminology keeps changing. Bound to the shade of his former hunter's soul.
Yeah, I think they'll need a Mark of Allegiance
they need
to give orders. I think the orders presently are just like the ghouls follow the hunters around.
Okay.
But if you want them to actually
dictate,
shove,
you can like move zombies and skeletons.
Yeah. They can physically move them. Sure.
Okay.
So maybe is that what you're talking about? Like they'll like grab a ghoul and just like carry the ghoul with them where they need to go,
or like prod it along by kicking it. Like a bad zombie man dog.
Ooh, I like that. They've got like
flesh, right?
poles that they use to like move the undead around to get them where they need them to go.
Yeah, man catchers. That's what they need.
Love it.
Or like those snake things, you know, like it's basically just like a long pole that's curved at the end to like keep snakes at a distance from you. Don't want to get right. Because I don't really want to touch the ghouls. The ghouls, like if they brush the ghouls' flesh, that's creepy and potentially paralyzing.
And also, who knows? Maybe the ghouls are just really hungry that day, and they might bite you accidentally. You know, even a good dog breaks its leash from time to time.
Yeah, I think. Oh no, Mark of Allegiance was a level 7 ability. I just needed to figure out how to.
The additions to the mark.
Yeah, it's apparently not the same mark. So I think after a day of feeding, maybe not even a day, that was just like the morning, that afternoon, we can head into the village of Winter's Reach.
Excellent. Let's take us to Winter's Reach.
Check in on the people. So we've said that the manor is on the cliffs, right, closer to like south and east of the village.
Yeah,
against the strait. Through the lumber yard?
No. I think maybe the lumber yard is this path, the manor is this path, and then there are farms to the left and right, and then Lilith's house is also to the right. That's how I've always that's been what I've had in my head. Although I don't think it's ever been explicitly stated.
One of these paths maybe like winds up the hill to the manor house or something like that. The edge of the path is the edge of our map, but cool. Oh, do we know who drew this thing?
Yes. For some reason I can't type though. It's weird. Let me look up his name right now because I can never remember it. It's a long, complicated thingy. No, it's not that long. How the fuck do you pronounce this? This is why I haven't credited him yet, as I just don't know how to pronounce his name. I'm gonna give it to you in the disco, and maybe you can figure out how to pronounce this. That is not the right thing. That is a Zoom link. Ignore that. That.
I was trying to give him a shout out, but
I know, but I don't know how to pronounce that.
so you're gonna make me botch it.
Daricha? I don't know.
Daricha? Tom.
He says Tom.
Chat says Tom. I don't know if his name is actually Tom, but it is now. Thanks, Tom.
Thanks,
Shout
Tom.
out to Tom. All right. In any case, so Mousifer will head into the village and I think check in on the blacksmith. I mean, probably also the church and.
Well, it's going
right. Yeah, where's the smithy on here? So we're here in the village square. There's the butcher. That was the sheriff. That was the tavern. I think the smith was this one across the way. One of these, either this one or one of those buildings nearby.
Right here. This is the blacksmith.
Okay.
Yeah.
Down the street.
Perfect.
I've been here before, I swear.
Yep. And then the rest of the town is made up of like scattered tents and mobile homes.
Yeah. Do we have, what was the smith's name?
Oh, it's in a document.
Jason.
Yes. Jason.
The ex-smith. With an 18-100 strength zombie hand. Is that accurate?
Yes, it is. He's got a necrograph on him. Beautiful. He is hard at work doing what?
I don't know
what have you set him to do?
He had finished the breastplate, I believe, previously.
Correct.
So he is occupied with whatever his usual business or his new business will be. But I think the reason we're stopping by here is to see if he's got to be the guy to make the mark of privilege. Maybe the mark of allegiance, like the new mark. So we'll bring that brand into town. Did he build the original one?
He did.
I think he did before he was maimed.
Yes. He got maimed pretty early on. No, I think he did it before he was maimed. Yeah. Because Mark of Servitude's a first level ability or second level ability. Excellent. So you bring him the existing brand, and what do you tell
and I feel
him?
like it doesn't make sense for me to bring it in unless there's like it needs. Well, I guess this one is still working, but we need a new one for this new spell.
Right. You'll need one that is separate and adds like additional flourishes to the existing brand. So you'll have like a base brand that is servitude, and then extensions of it in some form or another that are of allegiance. And your existing one is the like Malcifer Winter crosshatch that just looks like a series of X's next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So how would you like to expand on the brand?
Mm-hmm. And how does Malcifer come to know that this is something that needs to be done? Is it a stroke of inspiration? None of this was mentioned in the.
No, you've far exceeded the texts from your grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
This here is the existing brand.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do you want to add on to this? And how do you know? I'm going to leave these as questions for you to answer.
Mm-hmm.
How do you know what to do?
I think maybe it's somewhat by design, right? So Malcifer understands that this symbol has spiritual meaning to the undead. Right, it lets them know that they're not to, or how they're supposed to react to someone who has it.
Right.
Well, you're getting creative over there. I was thinking something simple. I think he's thinking that he can make nearly any symbol or any symbol that's significant enough, like he can bind that spiritual energy to it, or like symbolize that spiritual energy in the shape and the act of the creation. So in some level, that's yeah. So he needs something different so that his undead can distinguish what they're looking at, right? Just like a mark, basically like a mark of rank. But in order for it to have power, it has to have spiritual significance. This first one was cool because it was initials and these stitches and. I was almost thinking just like something you put on top of it, just like another line that goes through the middle. I don't know how many marks you're planning on having, but I think it'd be weird if there were like a bunch of random disjointed ones,
right?
Rather than just keep adding to the mark as it gets more complicated,
right?
Or
it
like
should,
even the border
it should
around.
I don't know. This might be the last mark. I haven't made any further ones. So maybe we just need like a line through the middle. Maybe you want to do some like hooks off the edge or have the ends connect. I don't know what you want, but anything
or even
will
just
work.
like a border, right? Because this is like a brand marked in the flesh, right? So it's actually like the scarification that makes the symbol, right?
Yeah, the mark isn't
The
actually going to have
in
any
of
color
itself doesn't have much meaning.
No.
It's more in the act of its creation. But I almost don't know how much it. Right, so Malcifer could make his mark with a knife or with or even adapt the specifics of the mark, or a different necromancer may have a different mark or a different method of.
Yeah, I think each necromancer has their own marking, and then each one probably instills it in a different way. Some might tattoo it onto people, others will brand it, some might like cut it into the flesh. There's probably other ways of marking. You could use acid or lye or something to make it, as long as it's a permanent marking of some kind. You might even use some sort of like spell to discolor the skin in a non-damaging way, you know? But I guess that's also sort of a tattoo.
I wonder also what that. Like, I was here thinking to have the blacksmith make something new. Or we could just just modify the brand in some other way, or even like remove the brand or burn it off with lye or something like that. I hadn't thought of those options. That's interesting.
So is this what we want the mark of servitude, mark of allegiance to be? With the box around it and the line through the middle? Okay. Cool. So you'll have two separate brands at the end. One for servitude, and then the allegiance one you do separately over that. Because it is two spells.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think how this rendition comes about, I think, is Malsifer meandering into town and, visiting the blacksmith and casually mention how much use they're getting out of his craftsmanship, the armor and the brand. And we've got these new horses and so much marking going on, and politely hint or request or whatever. Well, politely command that he make another one. And I think he'll come up with some modification like this based on our conversation. But I'm also considering, maybe the thing to do would have even just happened when I was feeding on the hunters, marking them. Or the fact that I think there will need to be some ritual. Maybe even just the spell of the feeding wouldn't be leaving a mark, would it? Right, so if I'm draining on their brand constantly, does that etch away at it?
Oh, that's interesting.
I'll think about that. So I may modify their mark in some other way. I don't think I'm ready to give up all those years yet. I think we may need to go on some soul questing before
5 years per brand.
5 years per? Yeah, no way. We're
the Mark of Allegiance, yeah.
Yeah, I have the lifespan of a mere mortal at this point. I'm seeing 3 years in the version I've got.
Oh, okay. I think, yeah, it is 3. I just misremembered.
3 times. I guess I could handle the hunters. We'll see next time I visit with the hunters.
Okay.
Does the blacksmith have other work? What is he doing when
Yeah, there's a little bit of other
weapons,
work.
Or what is he? Before he was probably mostly just making
farming tools and that sort of thing.
Farming tools and stuff. Is that stuff beneath him now that he has this 18 strength zombie hand, or does he just make the best?
It's not beneath him. It's just
darn saws in the whole town.
There's so many tools available from other towns that have been raided and brought back here that he doesn't really need to make tools anymore. They're plenty available. And with all the newfound wealth and all the resources coming in and his newfound arm, he is just sort of making shit. Mostly it's been decorative and sort of artwork things that he's been working on. So there's these these brass and copper weird slopey, angular, pointy thingies that he's got hanging around his shop that are almost like horseshoe shaped, but then with hooks that come off of them on the other side. And he's just been practicing with his new arm and making things that he thinks are interesting or cool because he's got time and unlimited food and resources. He's an artist now, Ryan.
He's got this divine gift and he's putting it to use. Interpreting the words of the winter gods, maybe.
Yeah.
Speaking of, how are things down the street? What is going on at the church? Because I moved this.
Moved the wrong thing.
I moved the wrong layer, and now it's stuck to my token. There we go. Thank you.
So
last we checked in, there was a small cult of winter sort of self-assembling.
Yes.
Is there any sign of
They have taken the name the Butcher's Men for themselves because they work right next to the butcher's shop and out of the church, and they're sort of involved with the butchering process. That's
not the colt that I was imagining, but that's a perfectly fine colt that we've got room for here in Winter's Reach. But I feel like that's not. So they're not even. Okay, they're not going to step up and be the main colt of Winter. They're just butcher cultists. Here, I thought we had the makings of a nice, fine social movement, and instead we've got 11 butchers hanging around the shop.
I mean, this is what they've been referring to themselves right now as, but any good cult goes through various iterations and changes over time, you know? With the right movement and the right hand gestures.
But I guess right now
lord.
there's a lot of spoils coming in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah.
hands are needed.
Yes.
To process the
meats.
Process the flesh.
Yeah, and there are bodies that keep getting dug up and imported, and you know there's plenty of things and plenty of meat to be worked at. So here they are doing their best to serve you by helping the butcher and the rat catcher and all that sort of stuff.
What do you call them? The butchers.
The butcher's men.
The butcher's men.
Mm-hmm. Undoubtedly, your enemies will think that you are the butcher in the cults that they are referring to. Nuances of naming are often lost on foreigners and outsiders.
You'd have to speak Gadian to understand.
Mm-hmm. The gender on the butcher has, multiple meanings, and they're using the gendered version for, like, regular person instead of, like, Lord Butcher. So, you really do have to understand Gadian. Old Gadian.
All right.
Did you need to take your break?
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, what else do you want to look in on here in town?
With Lilith at the estate now, there's probably less that needs to be done here. We've been doing most of the raising at the church, though, haven't we?
I think it's been some at the church, some in your house, some at the church.
A lot of it was up at the up in the basement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the ghouls are made in the basement, but you were doing mass skeleton raising at the church because there was room and resources.
We were at a certain point. We were excavating the graveyard.
It has been fully excavated.
That happened.
Yeah, it is totally ripped up. All the bodies have been pulled out, and there's now like a nice pile of skeletons. I shouldn't say a pile, but like they're laid out in rows, with people, the butcher's men nearby, ready to move them into the church as needed.
Mm-hmm. And I think they've stacked up the tombstones around the grave. There's this border here. I don't know if it was originally just like a fence, but now it's like a wall of tombstones around the graveyard.
Perfect.
And where was once plots is now just rows of pits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just lovely.
Lovely.
Cool. It's nice cruising around at 27 HP. I should probably conjure my spirit armor again, but...
But 27 HP is a lot of HP.
Indeed.
It's hard to give up. What do you want to do, Malcifer? You've got your estate, you've got your town.
Well,
You're missing your sheriff.
Marching to war, weren't we?
Yes.
That was the last plan we left on, wasn't it?
I believe it
Got
was.
me distracted saying we were at home, but I came back to rally the forces. Maybe I came back to heal and then rally the forces. I don't think we need to go. Accidentally deleted my token, but I can probably make it again. I think we should. We'll head back to the estate and maybe can we zoom out to the island map?
Yes.
Because End of last episode, I raised an army. Started episode, relaxing day.
Okay.
Been a few weeks since we played, guys. Forgive me. But I think I needed to heal, right? I was at 14 HP.
Yeah. So we are world map, zooming into Gadia. Whoop. Here we go. You know that there are at least 5 companies out there, although this top one you haven't seen in a while. That's its last known position. Where were you going to take your army?
We are going to rally nearly 300 undead soldiers and march them on... Oh, this is the Koibu village, isn't it? We're talking about the coast, I think, and then maybe
you want to start at the coast and head up.
I think we want to knock down this. Was this the Koibu's own forces, or is this? Okay.
Yes.
These were the ones that did submit tribute, right?
They sort of submitted tribute. Yeah. They submitted tribute and then marched on you. That's how it went down.
We can almost just go straight for Pinespur. Is that too bold of a move to try and march on this company?
There's at least 300.
In any case, following Malcifer's recovery doesn't take. I mean, he doesn't have to rest for more than a day or two. We didn't even account for the natural healing. He's pretty much up with it. It seemed like a relaxing day, but it was really just a relaxing morning. Roll to the blacksmith, to the church, collect his thoughts, and collect his forces.
Yeah.
We wanted the nightmare is one thing that I've been hoping will finish up, but it.
Yes, we need to make another fertility check for the horse.
Has it been enough time, or is it?
Yeah, I think we were just a few days off before the next check be made, if I recall correctly. Okay. So, the mare will take, but, it'll take a little while for it to gestate long enough to be like a proper horse with inside her. So in maybe a week or so, you can create your nightmare.
Are we really getting into when does soul enter the body debate here on Dicing with Death?
Absolutely. We have what is it?
God, I was with you through all the murder and pillaging and necromancy.
But the horse breeding program is where you draw the line.
Too controversial.
Well, as we see, quote 666 from chat says, high-level D&D, getting a horse knocked up. That's definitely where we're at.
All right. So I have 2 horses on my sheet. When do I mark 3 and then sacrifice 2 of them to make a nightmare?
In 1 week. So you've got you've got a week left before your nightmare can be created.
So the question is, we've got time. We're an ageless Lord of Winter. We can wait a week for our noble steed to arise. Perfect. And a week seems like a reasonable amount of time to rally an army if you're doing it right? Like getting them in rank and file and making sure that they're all equipped optimally. Right, some of them probably lost their spears and stuff, so we need to get the villagers together, collect all the stuff. I guess for the ones that just use improvised weapons, shovels and pitchforks and farm implements are probably just fine. Let me see how much I've got of everything.
But undoubtedly some have lost their weapons here or there, and little bits of armor have been lost, and with a week of time you can scrap some stuff together, patch up your troops, that sort of thing.
Alrighty. All right. Do we want to skip a week, or are you? Does anything of note happen in Winter's Reach during this raid? Right, does anyone take notice of the undead horde gathering? So we probably send all the specialists within Reach out to call back the forces that may be wandering. I think most of them are around, but.
Well, 4 days into your week of waiting, 5 days into your week of waiting, one of your hunters brings a body to you. It is the corpse of a young, not that young, like early 20s girl. She is dressed in the, what do you call it, the apparel of the present Lord of Pinespur. But, you know, she's a little bit, her hair's matted and dirty, her hands are sort of rough and calloused and, with broken nails. And she has the look, but the look of a street urchin, but the trappings of an official messenger. And she's missing her left arm, and there are clear, like, zombie chew marks on what remains.
Okay, and Malcifer is in his hall when this message is delivered.
Yes.
And a single hunter comes dragging in this body. Is that how we see it?
Yes.
All right. Malcifer gets up from his throne to inspect the corpse. He's a bit of a master in the subject, right? So he inspects the body. Is it still warm? How long ago did she die?
No, it's been cold. She looks like she's been dead a day or so. Definitely looks like she got eaten by zombies on her way towards you. She has a letter.
A note or anything tied to her?
Yeah, there's a letter sort of like tucked in her, what do you call it? Like her doublet.
Okay. Malcifer produces the letter. Is the seal unbroken, or was there ever a seal?
It is sealed. Let me see if the seal has been broken by the zombie munching. No, the seal is unbroken. Surprisingly. It's got the seal of the House of Pinespur on it.
Yeah. Malcifer will pause for a second before undoing the seal. I don't have any knowledge whatsoever of magic, right? Despite my own powers, Malcifer wouldn't know an explosive rune to look at it, right? That's not something he would even think to check for. Right?
Probably not.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think he unseals it And maybe so the things he's looking for are probably not the magic thing, right? He looks at it to see if it's been poisoned or I don't know, or been tampered with in that sort of way. I guess is that a thing? Poisoned wax.
I think Malcifer's in the right to be wary of poisoned wax, whether or not it's a real thing.
So he carefully opens the seal with his hunting knife and unfurls the scroll.
It says, to Lord Malcifer Winter, from the nobility of Pinespur, we hereby bequeath you the southwestern lands of the Blumwood, as well as the western lands of Weston and Gator Beach. In exchange, you will stand down your armies and trouble us no more. And that's it.
Malcifer sits back on his throne and gives it a read. That actually sounds pretty agreeable. I didn't expect them to surrender. I don't know that I view Pinespur as my birthright. It's a bit unfortunate that they've fallen to Eridon, but if I'm given this more than makes up for the land, my ancestral lands that have been taken, right?
Certainly. Yeah. I mean, that's a large swath
That's
of
a hell of an
territory.
offer if it's genuine. Is it signed from, who's it signed? So I think Mouse would look expecting to see a Grayson, but then maybe I remember something about there being a change in leadership in Pinespur in the last couple of years.
It is not a Grayson. It is... Let me... I don't know why I don't have this memorized yet.
Can you bequeath someone they already own?
What's his name? Barthus? No, maybe he died. It's signed by the ruler, who I keep forgetting who the hell it is at this point in time. It's got to be in one of my notes somewhere. Oh god, who's the ruler of Pinespur?
Barthus is super dead, says chat.
Yeah, Barthus is super dead. It might be the dwarf who's the sheriff? Saxton, no, the dwarf wouldn't take over.
It says the ruler was Aethrin Grayson, but that's
yeah,
outdated,
but he's
you're
dead.
saying?
Yeah, he died. He's too
Dead.
old. Maybe it is Saxon. I guess Saxon is the interim leader. He's not a dwarf. He's a regular
I
human.
think okay. Then maybe Mouseford maybe balks at this. Then so this is there's no way Mouseford even thinks that this or respects that this person has claim to Pinespur.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a bit pleasing to see that the fools are finally recognizing what was evident from the start, right? That these are all Winter's lands.
Mm-hmm.
In the realm of Winter's Reach, but I think we can blur over whose signature is even at the bottom because Mouseford, it's not a message from the legitimate Baron of Pinespur.
Yeah, not from Grayson.
And certainly not no King of Gadia, right? Only the King of Gadia can make such land claims, right?
There is no more King of Gadia. I mean, the Graysons were the kings, but that was a long time ago now.
Yeah.
There's no existing king, so what are you gonna do?
So we've already the messenger's dead.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I know what we do. We race her back and send her walking into Pinespur. I'll think about later if she needs a note or if that's just enough of a message, but we're gonna raise her as a zombie. So it's 1 year, correct?
I believe so.
Well, I think Malcifer, I guess, crouches down and she does this, and might as well just do this right here, right? It's only one zombie. So quick and dirty, just jam that hunting knife into her temple to access the nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
And zombies 1 year, am I correct?
I believe that is correct. Yeah.
Zombie 1 year. All right. Does the hunter stick around and watch this spectacle? Is there
Yeah, once he
witness
delivers the
for this?
body, unless you dismiss him, he stands around.
Yeah, so I think he's just like standing in the back of the hall.
Mm-hmm.
All right, max age down to 78. So I think within, if I can do 8, it's about an hour, right? That's
Mm-hmm. Yep.
seems like a long time, but
It does.
but I think for balance purposes, we kind of have to go in that ballpark.
Right. Otherwise, you could probably raise like 100 zombies in a single night, and that seems a little too much.
Yeah. I think maybe in this case, that's all the setup and cleanup.
Yeah, I think it's more than just the like blood in the brain. Like you got to prepare the body, you know, and that might involve like certain inspections here and there, or like maybe you got to like stitch this up, or this part's a little broken, or I don't know. Maybe it's just extremely taxing on you, and it takes like an hour or like half an hour of like resting afterwards to recover.
Mm-hmm.
That might be the best way to play out the lore.
Yeah, we can stay vague on this for now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or change every time at our discretion.
Mm-hmm.
Spend an hour, raise a zombie of the messenger that Pines were sent. Oh, and I can just whisper through the corpse. So I just raise her as a zombie, turn her right around, and send her walking towards Pinespur. Maybe I even just possess her right here and go as the messenger, right? That's probably the easiest way to deliver a message, especially a message of my choosing. And I can do my corpse whisper.
Yeah.
So I think Mouser takes a seat on the bone throne, animates this zombie, and possesses it, and marches it back to Pinespur.
Okay, so you got to corpse whisper. You've got to give up 1 HP in 2 years to enchant the corpse to do it, and then a second casting to actually speak through it.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if a ghoul is better. I guess if I'm just delivering a message, it doesn't matter. But a ghoul's faster, isn't it?
A ghoul is faster. So I guess, do you want the message to get there quickly, or do you want to get there in the body of the person they sent?
The ghoul can be the body of the person they sent.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, you could raise her as a ghoul instead of a zombie. Yeah.
And we'll just do a zombie. It seems, for some reason, the visual of that seems better. And you said Corpse Whisperer is 1 HP and
2 years.
2 years?
Yeah.
And then if I want a corpse, okay, and then the possession is 1 year, 2 years? 2 years, I think.
Possession.
Yeah. 1 year.
1 year.
This is where he goes into, I can also clairvoyance and corpse whisper. And I think it's probably easier to get this message to the right people. Is the corpse whisper always in direct time? Or can I send a whispering corpse with a specific message? Or like spend a zombie to go constantly uttering some message?
No, I believe you speak through it. Yeah, okay. It's you talking and then making the sounds. Because the zombies and, what do you call them? Ghouls can't make noises or like form words on their own account. They don't have the ability to talk.
Right. Let's do the possession then. So that's starting off with 1 year. The corpse whisper, do I need to prepare it in advance? That's what you're saying with the HP?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would have been part of the summoning ritual. Do I expend it first? Do I expend 2 more years first? Or is that...
You expend 2 years and 1 HP to enable a body to be whispered through. And then you would possess it and then whisper through it whenever it is that you want to do the whispering.
Okay, cool. And Mousefur slips into a coma atop the throne of bones and possesses the spirit of this zombie messenger. And this seems like a natural spot for our break, or we can just keep powering through and round off.
Let's just say that you send off you possess the body that is ready to be whispered upon and walk it in the direction of Pinespur through the Blumwood, which is a slow trudging march that will take you, what is that distance? 20 miles, but you're going at like zombie speed, which is half. So that'll take you more like a full day.
Yeah.
Like maybe 12 or 16 hours, something like that. 12 or 14 hours. Okay. And we can break right there as you march your way Pinespur with the body of the messenger. And we'll see you guys on the other side of the break. Bye-bye.